Hey everyone, here's Anis Alomar from the business of Archviz. Today I have a special guest, an artist, also a business owner. He is Francesco. Francesco is running a studio called Sublime Zero in the UK, and we have worked together for 4 or 5 sessions. And we have been talking about the business side, how to improve client communication, and plus improving the list of the clients, getting new clients either through referrals or even cold clients. And he would like to speak about his experience working together for the last 4 to 5 sessions. Francesco, welcome. Thanks for the meeting. And would you mind please introducing yourself briefly?
Thank you for this special introduction, Anis. I'm blushing, so I'll try to speak as best as I can. My name is Francesco Flomin. I am a 3D artist based here in London. I've been working in this field for over 17 years. I started back then in Italy, then I moved to London 7, 8 years ago. And since 2020, I've been running my own studio, as you said, which is Sublime Zero. Our main markets are high-end design studios, real estate developers, mostly interior design rather than architectural competitions, still visualizations, CGI films, 360s. These are our main services.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. So you have been in Sublime Zero, I would say, since 2020 until
Yes.
today, like 4 years somehow. Perfect. And what would you say is the unique thing about Sublime Zero in those 4 years?
So the experience that I gained all over these years, I think, has allowed me to cut some corners and anticipate clients' needs. I remember when I was a junior, one of my most hard difficulties that I had was communication with clients. Sometimes I took for granted stuff they were requesting without, making sure that that's what they wanted, because sometimes clients seem to be very sure about what they are requesting, but they see projects from a design point of view and not a visualization point of view. So during
Mhm.
this all these years, I believe I gained that experience that made me able to anticipate them. Also, I've been trying to be, as fast paced as I could, because sometimes I've been dealing with crazy deadlines. And that's a challenge that I really wanted to accept, because most of the times the first answer that you might have in your head is like, I don't have time for putting my quality into work, which is completely fine. Sometimes it works like that. You need timing, but I also had, I try to question myself and saying, are you really sure about that? Are you sure that you will not be able to put some good quality into it? So I challenged myself in this aspect, and I believe that helped me out growing in a fast-paced market. That's what the two things that I would say that can
Mhm.
qualify myself as a CGI artist. Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. So that's pretty unique. I mean, I do see, I do meet many 3D artists. The clarity that you have, I really appreciate in our conversation. And also, I appreciate a lot all your questions. What I would say during those 4 years, would you describe how was your way into the business? How did you find the business? I would say, did you have a lot of ups and downs? What is the main challenge you have seen in in the business for the last 4 years?
Yeah, many ups and downs. There still are different ones, of course. The first down was that I started during COVID, and we
Mhm.
had also a newborn baby. We were isolated from the world here in London. So I remember the very first few months, it was really difficult to
Mhm.
manage our schedules and everything. So I believe that was the first one. But then pros were that clients were chasing me because they knew that I was free to work as a self-employee. That mean a self-employed, sorry. That means
Mhm.
that I had a lot of work in 2020 initially. It was also because I had my own company back in Italy for almost 10 years. And another difficulties would be probably more like a psychological one, like this time let's make it work. So this thing was probably, it was like it was in the back of my head for the first year. Now I don't think about it anymore because now it's a routine. It's normal life. But back then it wasn't. So those were my first ups and downs. Right now, I would say that the ups and downs would be to manage my clients better in terms of facing new clients, networking. That's why I've been contacting you because I believe that I must fill some gaps in my commercial awareness. And that could be, again, yes, it's not really a down because it's a new challenge. But yeah,
Yeah, perfect. So if we would summarize, you mentioned the gaps. You mentioned, I mean, 2020, you had the most amount of work because you were already connected to your previous clients or previous network
yes,
while you were, yeah. And maybe, as you said, some sort of psychological challenges. As you said, you had a child, you are locked down. If we compare 2020, 21, 23,
yeah.
which year was the best?
The best year would have been, I believe, well, in terms of profits, I would say 2022. But the curve is pretty much almost the same. So I'm
Mhm.
not in that specific field. I wouldn't say that there's like an amazing year in an awful year. No, that didn't really work like that.
Mhm.
In other terms, I would be that the more the time passes by, the more you are aware of other aspects of being self-employed and dealing with. You realize that there's so much more competition around you. So and then you're getting older, which is everybody does. So yes, you're facing new challenges every day, so it might be more exhausting with the passage of time, but still it's also a nice way of taking a cold shower, metaphorically speaking, and saying, no, okay, let's roll our sleeves up and prepare for our next challenges. So yeah, I would say they're pretty much the same, but I'm
Mhm.
glad that the time is passing by for many other challenges. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have been working together for 5 sessions.
Yes.
What do you remember? What was the challenge that triggered you to look for a solution or someone to help you before even talking together?
Yeah. So the thing is that sometimes in our field, well, I'm speaking for myself, but I know that other people have the same issue. Even if you have a lot of work, sometimes you know that you're depending on not a big amount of clients, and that scares you because even in my past I used to work a lot with a client back in Italy, and unfortunately it didn't go well for them. So I realized very soon that I was depending on them too much, and that now getting older and everything, that kind of scares you because you've already seen how things can go. While
Mhm.
you're young, you don't have any experience about that, so you just keep going forward until you fall, and then you get up again, and then you build some history behind you.
Yeah,
So this time for me, it was something like, let's try to gain more control over things that I'm not really controlling. I don't know if that makes sense.
yeah,
Sometimes you feel, first of all, I'm not running a big studio. So that means that I don't have somebody who might be traveling for work, trying to meet new clients, new people every day. That means that I have to do it by myself.
hmm,
And without the knowledge that I might have for other technical stuff, other technical issues, other commercial issues, but networking, clients management, relationships, and all that, it's something that I that I have been probably been lacking over the years. And so something in my head clicked and said, let's see if you can have more control over it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for being open and sharing these challenges. Do you remember when we first met? I mean, that was on
We
LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, it was on LinkedIn. I don't remember why you probably added on my contacts. I think yeah, because it
Mhm.
works, like in LinkedIn, sometimes you have contacts on the back of your head, and
Yeah,
then something comes, comes in, boom, let me think, oh, okay, who is this guy? Let me talk to him.
yeah,
And I remember I dropped you a message, and then you said, yeah, let's have a chat. And so we had like a Zoom meeting,
yeah.
and you explained what you were doing. So it was still very generic,
Mhm.
and I remember that in our first session you were probably keen to see if I was open-minded enough, just because we didn't know each other, and also in this area, sometimes you might once again have not have a lot of knowledge. That means that you don't really know the answers, the questions that you're supposed to be addressing.
Yeah,
So I believe that our first two sessions were like, I was trying to study you as long as studying myself, and then everything went way more smoothly. The more I was into it, yeah.
perfect, perfect. So after, I would say, 5 sessions, how would you describe the experience?
Awful. No, I'm joking. No, no, everything is completely fine. It's always a nice feeling to start
Mhm.
a new session, just because, yeah, at least that's my mindset. I'm very keen to jump into things that I suck at. For instance, I don't know why at the age of 40 I started studying chess, and the more I knew
Mhm.
that I really sucked, that it's so difficult, and why should I be doing this, the more I loved it.
Mhm.
So probably right now I'm beginning to realize that I have so many gaps that I need to fill, and that sensation brings me joy when I'm learning something new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And what if you would summarize the results of our, I would say, collaboration? Could you quantify or at least just highlight the main results you have seen since we work together?
So lately, I've been able to create two meetings with two potential clients that I was chasing. This obviously came from also from your help, because I've
Thank
started
you.
instead of jumping into specifics, into technical
Yeah.
details between you and me. I would say that my mindset changed since we met, and probably I took the right moment, the right occasion, in order to address the right questions to the right people, in order to meet
Mhm.
these people. And that's
Mhm.
something that I would have probably didn't really took advantage of before meeting you. So if I have to be honest with myself, so I'm sure that
Mhm.
helped a lot in these terms. And
Mhm.
also, it's still early to call it success, even though I call it success. But changing your mindset, it's already a very good sign, because
Mhm.
when you start, asking yourself questions after every meeting, and then you wake up in the morning and say, what if I did this? Maybe I would ask you with a voice message, sorry, bothering you, and then feeling guilty about it. But then you answer back, and then I don't feel guilty about it anymore. All
Okay.
this routine that we have, yeah, I believe it's already a good sign. That means that my brain is operating, and that's something
Yeah.
that it didn't do it before, because I was focused on other aspects of my work. Um,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. Cool. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, regarding those voice notes or like voice messages, I do have one
Please
thing
stop,
is
Francesco. No.
sorry.
No, I thought you were said, please stop, Francesco.
No, I'm not going to say it. I do believe if there is a question, it should be answered as soon as possible because otherwise it's going to, because each question has different variations of answers. And if I'm going to leave it open, it means like we still have three, four variations answers, at
Yeah,
least in your mind, and this will lead to more confusion. The quicker we get clear on what you should and I should do, the quicker you can grow or at least get the clients or
yeah.
finish the task
Hmm.
um, we have to do. Perfect, cool. And where do you think now the business is heading? I mean, do you have some sort of vision for this next year?
So
Taking in consideration what we are doing now, the actions we are setting up. Basically, we are more into streamlining all the actions so that
yes.
you don't you don't really worry in the future about something called the client acquisition.
Yeah, so luckily enough, the business has been going for more than 4 years, and before that, I have clients that came back after my experience in Italy. So I would say that it's almost like a 15 years of history behind, and the work is
Mhm.
okay these days. Not complaining at all.
Mhm.
So that makes me think that I'm lucky enough not to think about profits, but more like let's see if my name will be spreading out more. That means that right now we are into this campaign, sharing my portfolios, shipping my portfolios all over the world, which is something that I'm very curious about its results
Mhm.
according to cover letters, emails, and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see how people will react and answer back. Not even about new clients or new projects, just thinking about how this thing will make me feel that we've been doing
Mhm.
something uh, that will make Sublime Zero grow as a name.
Perfect. So, in case, like when we do business or we improve something in the business, there is also some personal side will improve. You have already mentioned mindset plus some other benefits to the business, which is the two meetings with potential clients. Um, do you have any other areas in yourself or in the business? Do you think they have improved? Do you
On
feel now more comfortable thinking about clients, communication, new
Yes,
clients?
yeah. So I don't want to be too philosophical about it, but
Mhm.
I probably will be. The thing is that once you understand that you can have more control over stuff that you didn't think you could have control before, that
Mhm.
makes you think that multiple things are possible.
Mhm.
I'm trying to figure out an analogy, but no, I cannot think about an analogy right now. But try to think when you were a kid. Sometimes things tend to be seen as impossible. When my kid asked me how to do backflips in the air because he saw it on a video, and then he
Yeah.
said, "No, this is impossible to do." And then I tried to explain to him that when he was very little, he wasn't able to walk. And now I
Mhm.
ask him, "Do you think that
Yeah.
walking is easy?" And he says, "Yes, of course." And I try to explain to him that walking it's not easy. Now it's easy for you because you've been training a lot, and now you have skills that you develop without even knowing that you were developing. And I believe that once you grow up, you take, training for granted. It's something
Mhm.
like it will happen sooner or later, and then you forget about. No, you need to train about stuff in order to learn. And I think I was lacking a lot on this side, almost like things will happen because you're good enough at your job. And unfortunately, sometimes it's not. Maybe it's okay for the 1-2% of 3D artists and every other work in the world. We've
Mhm.
been talking a lot in our first sessions about big guys, the big studios, and you stressed out that I shouldn't be comparing myself to them, even though sometimes it's hard not to compare yourself
Yeah.
to them. And that's probably why, because sometimes you really forget that you need to train before seeing results. So
Yeah.
I believe that this thing is now inside of my head. It's like a brand new idea that follows my brain connections sometimes.
Perfect, perfect. I'm really
Did it make
uh,
sense?
happy. Yeah, of course,
Okay.
complete sense. Um, in it is an interview about you. I need to share with you something. With all the sessions, you can't believe how much I enjoy your questions because you ask questions I can rarely hear from others. Really like, but those are really deep, insightful questions. So
I,
thank you.
I'm
Keep
I'm
asking, please.
I'm glad. I hope you can learn as well as me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um, so I have like two questions in one question. So first question is, do you recommend others to work with me? And if yes, who would that be? I mean, of course, an Archviz artist, but in which stage in their business they should really consider working
Yeah,
together with.
the answer is obviously yes. I wish I could answer for like big corporate studios, but
Mhm.
honestly enough, I don't have the knowledge to know what is done at the very high level. And by high level, I mean like offices with
Yeah.
20 plus employees, for instance. For like freelancers and small studios and mid studios, I would say.
Mhm.
I think there's no question about it. I'm sure that you would be very helpful to anyone, and I would say especially to people who might even, they just to use the same analogy of my newborn baby,
Mhm.
when you
Yeah.
don't know how to walk, I'm pretty sure it's probably the best time, because then your your brain is brand new. It's like you still need to make wire connections. So I wish I could go back in, I don't know, 10 years ago and start doing this. But 10 years ago, things were different in our industry. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's true.
it's fine like that. But I'm sure that the perfect spot would be someone who would like to build their office, their studio from the very beginning. So without any past, just go for it. I think it would be the perfect
Yeah.
fit.
I already had another question, but I think you have already answered it, which is if those studios or like small, medium-sized studios you mentioned,
Hmm.
if they are thinking about working together with me, what should really trigger them to start maybe soon? So you have already said once you feel that you cannot work, then maybe this is the right time. Did I answer the question or would you like to add to it?
Yeah, yeah, no. I think that, well, first of all, yes. So if you're too busy, if your brain is too busy thinking about tomorrow and not 6 months after, it's gonna be harder, because and this applies to everything in life. If you
Mhm.
want to make big investments, you cannot make big investments if you don't have money for dinner. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, sometimes this seems like a paradox, but it works like that. And it definitely works like that with me, because thinking about the future, sometimes it's a luxury. However, if you start from scratch and you have some investments, I would go back in time, I would definitely start from there. Because, back in the days, I started 17, 18 years ago. My first job was an employee, but I stayed there for like a year, and then I tried my luck with myself. It was
Mhm.
like a trial and error, trial and error. I learned a lot by myself, but I remember that I also learned a lot by myself when I was on the technical aspects, when I was working in an office with other colleagues. But I also learned a lot from them because I
Mhm.
was, trying to absorb everything that they knew. I was a junior back then. And while you're working on your own, all these commercial technicalities, it's very, very hard to know them by yourself. Sometimes you don't even have the questions, not the answers, really the questions to be asked.
Mhm.
So yes, that's my opinion.
Perfect. Francisco, that was very insightful. Thank you very much. If someone is looking to get in touch with you, where should they go and find you?
So the website is sublimezero.co.uk.
Mhm.
I have a LinkedIn profile that I'm working on with you, so hopefully, uh, I'll stop doing being so lazy, and I will start creating some contacts to post. I will also
Mhm.
post some interviews on my Vimeo page and possibly also a YouTube channel soon. Yeah, the main thing would be my website and LinkedIn.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much for your time. And
Thanks to you.
if you would like to give one advice to someone who is like 3, 4 years in their studio and looking to grow, what would that advice be?
I don't want to sound cheesy, but I know that I'm going to be sounding cheesy. So the thing that kept me going is that after so many years, I still love my job. And after
Mhm.
so many years, I've been seeing so much more competition than the early days where you felt like a beta tester of the world. Now you're
Mhm.
like, sometimes you feel like you're working in a normal bank and things have changed. But still, what I think that kept me going, and many other people changed industry or changed their jobs or whatever, is because I really love what I'm doing. So uh,
Mhm.
let try not to forget that because sometimes it's very easy. It's like a temptation
Yeah.
because there are so many difficulties, so many annoying technical aspects, tax returns and all that. Breathe in, breathe out, and remember why you started this job and how that makes you feel when you create something. Because it's the creation part that makes us feel, special, that
Yeah.
gives us that fire inside. That
The
that would be
creation.
my very only opinion, just because otherwise it might get too specific and people have different mindsets. I believe this is a common ground for everyone instead.
Perfect. I do believe the same thing in this industry. The biggest, I would say, driver to stay and grow in this type of job is your love. You love this type of job. Creation is one thing. Having the passion is important for this career. Um, Thank you very much for your time again, and goodbye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.